we're very excited, Tricia, because we were at the Sedona International Film Festival.
Yes.
When was it? A couple weeks ago, and we were there all 9 days. I mean, phenomenal festival. But speaking of phenomenal, we met a group of people. We didn't see the picture at the time called Dating Daisy, but we met the whole cast, the writer, director, and I think the producer, and we just really had a great time with him. It was a short interview. We did a quick remote, but we're honored to have the writer director. Okay, Neel has left the phone lines. Okay, but he'll be calling back. But we do have lead actress Daisy Sasha Alexander. Sasha, how are you?
Hi, I'm so great. It's awesome to talk to you guys again.
I know. I wish we had more time last time, and we had so many interviews in such a short time in Sedona. But I thought, well, I'm going to call you guys back because I have seen the movie now, and I want to congratulate you. What a great movie! Your performance was magnificent.
Wasn't it phenomenal?
Thank you. That's so good to hear. Acting is such a neurotic process that, I can't tell you how amazing that is to hear that you guys enjoyed it. Thank you.
Totally. And I think you won or tied for best comedy, didn't you? In Sedona?
We did. Yeah, we won Audience Choice Best Comedy, which was just the best. I mean, it was so incredible to have that interaction with our audiences at Sedona. And I mean, I think we always knew this was a special film. It's a film about a connection between two people that just won't die. And I don't know what's more important than that. So it was incredible to see it connect with people.
It really did. Great movie. And let's welcome back Neel Upadhye. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow, I'm impressed with myself to do that.
I know, you killed that. You actually killed that.
Usually I can't even get... Usually it's the first names I can't get. But anyway, Neel Upadhye, writer-director. I know you got disconnected for a few minutes, but we were talking about how wonderful this film is. Last time we talked to you in Sedona, we didn't see the film yet, and now we have, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Sedona was such a special experience, and the first time that we had the public seeing it, and to get that reaction is pretty amazing.
It really is, and I just love this film. These are the words that came to. Well, before I would do that, describe. Since you're the writer-director, Sasha described it. You know what this film's about, but describe it in your own words.
To me, it's really about what it means to be in love in your 20s. That's what the film is really about. Balancing career and relationships and your priorities and those of your partner. And I think that those complexities are something that everyone has to learn to navigate. And in your 20s, when passions can certainly run very, very high, that can be incredibly tumultuous. And highs and lows can be addictive.
Totally, and what to do when you're desperately in love at an age where you might not be equipped to handle that, or your life might not be in a place to move forward with it. I mean, what then?
And that's a key word. You said desperately in love, and we won't say which one was, but however. I thought that was interesting, too, the different meanings of love, the timing of it all. I mean, I've heard people say, well, wow, only if I, could meet you 10 years from now, because they want to do certain things, from 20 to 30, for example. But what came to mind in this film were these particular words for me: values, priorities. It was funny, it was touching, it was very relatable. I mean, I think we've all gone through something similar. It was heartwarming. The family dynamics was very interesting, I thought. It was romantic, trust, betrayal. I thought it was sort of a fantasy in a way. And the music was great. I have all those adjectives, and I thought it was just put together really well.
Now, Sasha, was that you singing?
Yeah, I do sing in the film. I sing and play guitar in the film, which was so cool because I'm not a singer in an official capacity.
Oh, very good. But you're very good.
Oh, thank you so much. I was kind of like shocked and amazed when I heard it. Our composer was making fun of me because I was like, ooh, like I sound good. I was like kind of surprised. But it was really cool to have an opportunity to kind of like open up a different area of creativity for myself because I got to learn guitar and I got vocally coached for the role, and that was without question one of the best parts of this film to me, and especially because that moment is so poignant and gorgeous.
Yeah,
and the song was written for us. Yes.
Yeah, and Neel, I as a writer, as a director, I loved how you had the scenes going back and forth. The Thanksgiving dinner. There were some just really great scenes in the movie, and that was one I thought was creative. It was clever how you did it. The great scene between, with the grandpa telling the story to the granddaughter, I thought that was very touching and a message to the granddaughter. And there was just so many really nice scenes that I think can bring all ages back to a time when they've remembered something in their past that occurred similar to the movie.
And that was one of the cool things about Sedona. There was the audience skewed older there, and I didn't know how they would relate to this material, and they were just knee slapping their way through it, and it really did just show me how this was striking a common experience. When I was writing this film, I was tapping into a lot of personal experiences in my life, and I felt like I had something to say on the subject of relationships. And what I learned through this as a writer is that when you get incredibly specific, that's actually when you can tap into something that's more universal. It's like if you were writing a dating profile and you said that you're, outgoing and adventurous, well, that doesn't really paint a picture for who you are. But if you say, I go skydiving every Sunday and I'm getting my pilot's license, all of a sudden that paints such a specific and vivid picture of what drives you and what motivates you. And I think in a strange way, I learned through this process, and it was kind of comforting to know that, the pains and the victories that I've gone through in my personal life, I'm not alone in that. And so many people are able to relate to this, and trying to write a film that kind of told it like it is, found the humor and comedy in the lows and in the pain, and tried to create something without heroes and villains. That was kind of the goal, and I think that we achieved that.
Oh, most definitely. And the other thing that I liked is this is not just about Michael's relationship with Daisy. It also goes into the relationship of the two of them with their families and their relationships with each other's families. I mean, you really had so much to digest in this film that was excellent with regards to all types of relationships. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I think that your family dynamic has so much to do with the baggage that you bring into a relationship, and especially, I'm an Indian. I was born there, and family is a big part of my life. And I can definitely say that it's very much had a huge influence on my dating. I was the oldest. I certainly had to pave the way into dating even being acceptable, and then of course my sister got to do whatever she wanted. And the family in the film, Michael's family is Jewish, and some people come up to me and said, like, oh my gosh, like, how is it possible that you were able to write this Jewish mom? You're not Jewish. And I kind of joke that, Indians are Jews that just kept tanning,
that is so fun, and Diane Robin, the mom, Eleanor, will be on at 11:20, and she did such a great job too.
Absolutely, she did, and I know that Sasha is really bonded with her. They didn't have any together in the movie, but they're kind of almost antagonists without ever sharing a scene in the film.
We had a really cool story of how we met, though. Brennan was out of town when we were doing callbacks for the families, for the parents. So I actually ended up meeting all the parents before Brennan ever did. So I read Brennan's scene with Diane, and this woman just, came into the audition room with so much, ownership and fire, and just, it was just, all out there and caution to the wind. And I left the room afterwards and went to the waiting room, and I was like, I'm obsessed with you. I was like, I don't even know what's going to happen, but like, I'm obsessed with you. She was like, oh my God, you're a darling. You're a darling. We just like loved each other instantly.
but that's a common thread in all of the auditions. You know, I love doing read-throughs as a writer. I think it's just a great way to get material up on its feet. And I put together a read-through of the first draft of the film and had cast just a bunch of friends and people I respected to be there, either reading parts or being part of the audience. And I called in Sasha, whom I knew but had never worked with, and Brendan Kelleher, and I'd edited a film that he was in, but we'd never worked together, and asked them to read these parts. And I don't think that Sasha exactly knew that I was secretly auditioning them. I'll let you tell.
I had no idea.
From her point of view.
No, I mean, I have this kind of funny story about being in the elevator. Like, I just sort of like threw on some Daisy-esque clothes, and I was in like cowboy boots and this little skirt, and I was just like tromping around off to this reading because I thought it was going to be in someone's like living room, you know, because when you workshop scripts, often they're just in somebody's home. And I got to this huge building, and I'm riding up in this elevator, starting to get the idea that this is like kind of a big deal. And I get in with like a woman in a suit who's holding the script, and I was like, oh, you have a script too? And I was like, that's cool that you brought your own. And she looked at me, and she's like, I'm working. I was like,
whoa,
this is
please
a
watch
big
the
deal.
language. This is live terrestrial radio.
Oh, I apologize. I will never again.
That is our great producer. He catches it.
Thank God for the dump button.
How could you dump
yes,
Daisy?
I had no idea
She's too
what I was
cute.
walking into.
Let me ask you this, Sasha. How much of the character, or I guess I should ask it this way, is there any similarities between the character, Daisy, and yourself personally?
Oh, for sure. I mean, I think I really relate to Daisy's desire to be her own, to be like a self-made woman. She really wants things to be on her own terms, things being like her life and her decisions and the way she spends her youth. It's really important to her that be in integrity with like her soul. And I think that like drive for independence and like self-determination is something that I really, really relate to. That spirit that she has is, I think, probably our biggest commonality.
Wow. And so could you ever picture yourself teaching in Cambodia, I think it was?
Or at Japan?
Oh, my gosh. Probably not. I'm kind of a homebody.
Oh.
Yeah, Daisy is much more of an adventurer than me. I have very specific ideas about my life like her, but I tend to be kind of like the least spontaneous person in the room, which is funny. I had to do work on that, on like, you know, what it would take to convince me to drop everything and run across the world the way Daisy does. But that's why acting is fun, is because you get to like sympathize and empathize with things that you wouldn't normally.
But you have such a great energy to yourself. It's just, you really come through as, you seem like really joyful, appreciative, happy. I want to use the word bubbly.
Yeah, she does have just that effervescent personality.
Yeah, really, really cool. Now, Neel, what? You got one more.
No, I was going to say Neel was just saying something and we talked over.
Oh, I'm sorry, Neel, go ahead.
No, I said those are all the qualities I think Michael is attracted to.
Yeah.
In the film, Michael's mom is trying to set him up with, the ideal woman, and I think it's interesting, and we talk about it in the film, how, what you say that you're attracted to and what you're actually attracted to can be so different.
Right.
And Michael being, very straight-laced, very career-driven and determined and has a plan, not spontaneous. He thinks that he wants somebody like that. Sometimes we feel like we want, a clone of ourselves in the opposite gender, and that's what's going to work. And as soon as you see that, it becomes very apparent that doesn't work. And I think that how opposite they are is, where that chemistry comes from.
And also being in, the young, in the 20s, love changes. Hopefully it does. Meaning, it goes from sort of an addiction to hopefully unconditional, more on a spiritual basis. Once you learn a few times, and I thought that was really telling in the film as well.
Absolutely.
Wow, that was really well said. Yeah, really well said. I agree.
Oh, thank you so much. And Neel, and then I'll get to you, Sasha. Neel, what's coming up next? Because I know you're still doing some film festival. I think you're going to be here in Phoenix, and hopefully we can get you on again. But do you have other projects in the works?
I do. Well, first of all, yes, we're going to be at the Phoenix Film Festival, and we'll be screening that first weekend on Friday the 8th, Saturday the 9th, and Sunday the 10th of April. And would love for everyone in Phoenix to come out and check out the movie. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely.
And following up on Daisy, I'm now jumping into writing my next feature film, which is actually a sci-fi, so it's a little bit different from this. But starting to dig into other areas of my life and finding other hopefully relatable characters that are inside me, waiting to have their moment in the sun. And I also have a great team of co-writers that work on some television properties with me. And we've got a second show that we're working on that's a kids' cartoon. So that's an incredibly fun thing, too.
Well, Neel, you're a great talent. There's no doubt, and we're going to track your career. Sasha, what's coming up with you?
Well, I'm shooting another indie romantic comedy in Montana in May.
Do they need a lead actor?
You wish,
I will
Dave.
ask them. Unfortunately,
Can I do a
believe
tryout at least? No.
I'm going to throw your name in the hat for sure.
Okay.
It's a time travel comedy about like a physicist falling in love, and that's what I have next on the docket. And like Neel, I'm also working on some projects of my own. Hopefully, I will be also doing film festivals of my own indie in the next couple of years.
Perfect.
But all that is under wraps for now.
Excellent.
Well, where can people find you on social networking to be able to follow what you're doing other than listening here to our show?
So for me, the best thing they can do is go to my website, which is sashaalexander.com, which is SASCHA Alexander. Or they can follow me on Instagram at Sashface. I'm actually Instagramming all of my 2016 auditions, which is kind of fun. So if you want to watch what actor life is actually like, you should follow my Instagram account, which is really fun.
And how do you spell Sashface?
It's SASCH and then FACE.
Excellent. And Neel, any way they can get in touch with you, watch and track your career, or what do they do?
Sure. Well, Dating Daisy has a website you can check out. It's datingdaisy.com. And then my personal website and other endeavors can be found on neelreel.com. So that's NEELREEL.com. And most of my social media is on Facebook because as I'm figuring out, I am no longer young and cool, and I use not Snapchat or any of these new things. So
I disagree.
Snapchat and Vine.
Neel's really cool. I spent a lot of time with him.
Well,
he's just been a little bit busy behind the camera and everything else that you've been doing. So we understand.
Well, thank you both so much, Neel Upadhye, writer, director, Dating Daisy, and of course Daisy, the lead actress, Sasha Alexander. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully we'll see you in Phoenix in a couple weeks, and we really appreciate you calling in.
Yeah, thank you so much. Can't wait to see you at the festival.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break right now, and then when we come back, we're going to have some other people from Dating Daisy. You're not going to want to miss this. Great actors and the producer, and we'll be right back.
Woo-hoo.
Now we're really honored also to continue our discussion with Dating Daisy. We have John Judelson, producer, and Diane Robin, actress, played Eleanor, phenomenal actress, by the way. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Welcome
guys.
both. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thanks, sweetie.
Oh.
Ooh.
I did indeed. She
and
called
so
me
it
sweetie.
starts.
Uh-huh.
So the flirting begins.
I got to tell you, you
I
had
want
me.
to tell you what I'm wearing right now while we're doing this interview, but
Oh.
continue.
Wow. You had
Okay,
me.
now he's going to be tongue-tied for the rest of the interview.
Yeah, you had me at what you're wearing. No, but anyway, but we did meet. John, did we meet also in Sedona, or were you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, okay. You were part of that whole group.
Yeah, we had an entourage there, so I was trying to remember who we had there.
Well, yeah. It's such a pleasure having all you there, and I wanted to follow up because we didn't have a whole lot of time to get everyone's comments, but it looks like such a fun group and a group that came together and made such a great movie, Dating Daisy. John, let's start with you real quick. Being the producer, tell us how you got involved in this project.
It all started when Neel was looking for his next movie idea, and he had a little bit of money stacked away, and I was like, hey, let's make a movie, and he didn't think we could do it, so for the amount of money we had, but I encouraged him, and then he wrote a script, and it was actually really funny, and it was the Dating Daisy script, and from there we realized we needed more money, so we went out and started raising more money, and from there, the rest is kind of history. Started casting the film and so on and so forth. And
you have not only history, you can have a great future with this film. I just love this film, and Diane, you are just a terrific actress. I mean, tremendous. The role you played was it seemed seamless. I mean, it seemed like, and I've seen you in real life too, and your personality blossoms off the set and on the set.
Honey, I'm going to call you every night before I go to bed and make you say that.
You got a deal.
He's actually blushing.
I am blushing, but I truly mean that. You're quite a delight. I mean.
Thank you.
Well, and your personality in person is so fun and approachable.
Yeah.
Just like you are to everybody but Daisy in the movie.
Oh yes, I'm not too fond of that poor little Daisy, but a little pushy and overbearing. And when my daughter saw clips of it, I said, "What do you think?" She goes, "Oh my God, Mama, you're just like that in real life." I like that. She goes, "You're just like that."
That is. Now, when you got involved in this project, did you specifically go for this one role, or did they leave it open, or how does that work?
No. I was in Temple, literally, and I got a text saying I had an audition for this, and I thought, for a pushy Jewish mother in Temple, I'm going to get this part.
Oh, wow. That is too funny.
I read the script, and I was like crazy. I thought Neel did such an incredible job. Sometimes you pick up a script, and it's an interesting thing with actors. You can't remember one of the lines because it's not written well. And when something's written well, it just like kind of seeps into your soul. And this was so well written, I just fell in love with it. And I think I told you before, but I'll make it quick. When I auditioned for this part, I had just had toe surgery. And I said to my manager, what am I going to do? I said, my toes are all bandaged. He said, well, tell him you had a toe job. Too obnoxious, too LA. I'm not saying that. I won't say anything.
That
is
funny.
I go in there. Neel's there. The cameramen are there. Daisy's there. And I'm auditioning with a guy to play my husband. And at one point, I get down on my knees, and I'm begging my son not to marry Daisy. And I thought, oh, my God, I can't get up. If I stand up, I've got to dig my toes into the floor.
Ooh.
The Band-Aids are going to come off. Blood is going to fly in the director's face. He's never going to give me the part.
Oh, wow.
So I look at the guy playing my husband. I said, just don't stand there like an idiot. Help your wife up.
And that probably is what lynched the deal for you, right?
No one else is coming in here with bleeding toes auditioning for this part. I think I got this one.
Let me ask you this, Diane. How much of your personality helps other actors play their role? Because to me, it sounds like you not only play your role well, but you seem to facilitate others to play their role well, too. Describe that a little bit.
Okay, again, I'm calling you every night at midnight.
Oh, now it's at midnight.
I'm falling in love with you. I'm just saying this now in the radio.
Woo-hoo.
Okay.
Well, he does get that from a lot of women.
Yeah, I know. I'm not the first. I know. I'll get in line. I get it.
But you'll be the only. No, I'm kidding. All right, just teasing.
Neel did something phenomenal.
Yeah.
When you do TV, there is no time to rehearse. You go in, they do the camera blocking, you shoot. And unless you lapse into Pig Latin, they say moving on. You don't get a chance to do it again.
Oh.
In film, sometimes you get rehearsal, but not very often. Neel got us all together several times to rehearse before we did the movie, which was such a smart thing on his part to do, because in the rehearsal he'd say, you know what, you guys can improvise. You guys can open it up. And in doing that, we all sort of found our niche and found our way, and I think it made a big difference. I think we're a really closely knit family, as you can tell, the cast of this film.
No
but a lot of that has to deal with Neel and John. They made that happen for us. And one of the rehearsals, I'm fighting with my husband, and I said to him, my hand to God, if you say one more thing, I'm going to kill you in my sleep.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I saw that, that was just so real.
Well, you can ask my husband. I say that to him on a daily basis. Yes, it was real. But the line that went after that, I looked at him and I said, take out your teeth.
Oh,
that's
and
funny.
Neel says, cut. He goes, Dan, what are you talking about, take out your teeth? I said, well, I'm going to hit him in the face, and teeth are expensive. Take out your teeth.
That is funny. That is. John, let me ask you, as producer, how much do you get involved in helping, or do you help direct it? Do you help tweak it a bit? Are you on the set, or is it behind the scenes?
I'm very involved as a producer. I give notes, on the script initially. I'm there every single day of shooting and supervise all of post-production. I don't direct per se. I think, and this is part of the reason why Neel and I have such a great working relationship, Neel, our director, is because Neel really loves directing. He loves working with actors. He's really focused on the creative side of it, and I actually really enjoy the business side of creating a film. So in that way, we kind of both have the yin and the yang of the whole process, and don't really step on each other's toes. But when one of us needs help in our given area, we're both willing to jump in and help the other. Me, if he needs creative feedback, I'll give it to him, and he'll give me producing assistance if I need help, if I hit a roadblock.
That is cool. Now, you talked about the business side. I happen to be a CPA and a business consultant as well. Talk about the business side a little bit. What does that comprised of?
I mean, on a small film, it's relatively simple. Although it was surprising to us even how much it could scale. We opened up a bank account and set up a business in the name of the movie, and put all the production finances in there, and kept spreadsheets of all of our spending, and you have a bunch of different people spending money. So there's a lot of even on a small production, there's still a lot of production logistics. I think we had made 500 or 600 purchases throughout the course of the production, whether it was a piece of wardrobe or it was paying for food for the crew or something like that. And at the end of the year or the end of the production, you need to be able to account for that and do a tax return and all those things. So yeah, it's like a little small business. It
sounds like what you're describing is like you're the chief financial officer or controller, keeping tabs on all the finances and making sure you're hopefully within budget.
Exactly. You want to stay in budget, and you want to maximize, what ends up on screen. You don't want to spend money on things that, won't make the movie better.
But then, aren't you really the driving force behind getting into so many of these film festivals and the marketing of the film?
I mean, I feel like it's kind of a joint effort. Production value and quality of the film is just as important as the story. You can have it, as we know, you can have a huge budget blockbuster where the story is lukewarm, and you can have vice versa, and you kind of need both to get the attention from festivals and get recognition and ultimately impress audiences and entertain them.
Okay, but can I interject one thing? John is being modest. John is one of the huge reasons this movie got made. He's the go-to guy. Anything you need, John can get it done. He shot down he closed a freeway in the middle of the day. How did you do that?
Oh.
In Los Angeles, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was that.
It was tricky.
He could do anything, and he was always on the set. Any problem, any question, anything, it was go ask John, go ask John. So he was fabulous. But I do have one quick thing to tell you. The first day on the set, it's a younger crew, and they were taught to do everything properly and be very respectful. So at one part I had to come in, and I couldn't hear the cue, so somebody has to give you a physical cue when the door is shut so you know it's time for your entrance. So the AD, Sam Sexton, comes over to me, and he says, Miss Robin, would it be okay if I tap you on the shoulder when it's your time to come in? I said, sweetie, you can slap me on the ass. I don't care. And I didn't know that John and everyone was listening to this on the sound thing. I was so embarrassed. Everyone was like, Diane, you can't talk that way. You just ruined that young guy. I said, I thought everyone talked that way. Yes, John did hear me.
He's not as poetic as I am. Wow. But, this movie, though, I think it's an excellent movie. It really is. And I was talking, just before we had Neel and Sasha on. And what was creative, I thought, and what was really meaningful was the scenes going back and forth, Thanksgiving dinner, and some other scenes that happened that were going back and forth. And it just added to how each party was sort of thinking, even though they were separate, but they were sort of together from an intangible point of view, and they seemed to want to be together, but they were separate. But having the scenes connect sort of was a connection device, I thought, from their emotional standpoint. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
I thought it was very clever and smart that Neel did that. When we shot them each as though they were one continuous big scene.
Oh.
And when he edited it, he'd go back and forth between the two scenes.
Gotcha.
And he wanted to show how both sides were dealing with this issue and how the families were. And I think that's one of the big strengths in Daisy. It's a fabulous love story, but it also shows how much your family is involved in your love story when you're in your 20s.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're part of it, and we don't stay out of it.
Well,
I think we have to give a lot of credit to our editor, Zach, too, who came up with this device of kind of splitting the two scenes and intercutting them. It was a really creative decision that we didn't even think of. He came up with it. So.
It was fantastic, I thought.
Yeah, I loved how the interpersonal relationships in the two families, you could see how it created those personalities within the two kids, within Daisy and Michael,
Oh, that's so interesting. I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, at least that's the way I felt, because you could see how each of the parents raised their child and how that could have contributed to it. And I just thought that juxtaposition, seeing the two types of Thanksgiving dinner and everything I thought it was so well done, because it set the table. This story to me was yes, the majority of it was the relationship of the two of them, but there were so many of these other tendrils of relationship throughout the families that it was amazing to me how well that came across in such a relatively short film. Excellent job, in my opinion.
That's so sweet that you say that. That's all Neel.
Well,
that is Neel. Neel is an incredible writer. And when I first met him, I said, honey, did you get straight A's in school? He goes, how did you know that? I can tell, because he knew exactly what he was doing. His heart was in the story. He knew everything he wanted, from every shot to every... He really was amazing to work with.
Yeah, and the other things, I love listening to certain lines in films, and not only was it differences in the family, but it also had the cultural reflections of people in their 20s, brought about probably by the media, where Daisy at one point said, "You're my perfect guy. You're like my list."
Exactly.
Everyone.
That's a fabulous line.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed that, because it really showed, despite, well, I don't want to spoil this, but there's other values and priorities in people's lives, and maybe she was ahead of her game, and where Michael was what I would call, quote unquote, sort of obsessed or addicted to love, and they seem to be out of sync in their timing, and this is real life. I've seen this so many times. I'm sure both you, John, and Diane have seen this as well, when people think they found the one, but there's conflicting things going on, meaning they have other goals, they have other priorities, and maybe it's just not the right time. Why don't you comment on that?
And sometimes the wife.
Yeah.
Kidding. Absolutely. I think that's another reason people love this film. It really does show what you go through when you're dating. It's not perfect, and it's not. These two people were crazy in love with each other, and it just kept going back and forth, whether it was the timing, the part in their life, maybe if they met when they were later, it would be better. But who hasn't among us gone through stuff like that? I think that's the universal feel of the film that so many people can relate to. Everybody's had their heart broken.
Well, and Diane, I have to tell you, one of what I think was a phenomenal example of your acting ability was after you saw the video that was on his phone. And that scene of when you came down the stairs, I was so impressed.
Oh, my God. Okay, I want you to call me at 12:05.
See, I get
and then I'll light the cigarette up at 12:10.
I get to be the last voice she hears at night.
Now we got competition here. What's going on?
No, but seriously,
Thank
the look
you.
on your face as of a combination of resignation, but also disappointment and kind of disbelief. I think just all of. I can't even. It's so palpable. Just looking at your face and your demeanor. Phenomenal job. How did you pull that off? What were you thinking about that helped you to have that? Because it was every aspect. It was your body language, everything.
Wow. Okay, thank you. So, okay, I was very, very close to my mother, and part of this performance is my memory of my mom. My mother was fantastic, but you didn't disappoint my mother. And I remember times in life when I did disappoint her, how she would react, and that was very much my mom. Very much my mom. You didn't want to disappoint her because it would break her heart. Mm-hmm. And I think was a huge thing. When I watched it, I looked at it and said, oh my God, that reminds me so much of my mom. And my mother and I were incredibly close. And it is a fine line with your children. You want what you want for them, but in your heart, if you think you know better, what do you do with that?
Yeah. That's a tough one, isn't it? I mean, sometimes, everyone does something different. Sometimes you try to steer them the right way, or him or her, or sometimes you just sort of let go and hope they do the right thing. But it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. But I'm very touched and glad that you saw that moment and that it resonated because,
Oh, it totally resonated with me.
That was a classic scene, yeah.
And then when you said about we'll sit in the back, I was like that then
funny.
made me cry. It took me from feeling that devastation to just
funny.
cracking up, going, that's exactly how we dig it in there a little bit,
It was a very cool thing. Now, let me start with you, John. We only have about a minute left, but what's the future look like for you? What's going to be going on for you? Any other projects in the works?
Yeah, absolutely. Neel and I plan to make many more movies, and Neel's already working on the next one. So.
Oh, wait a second. While he's on the phone, can I be in it? Let's just put this pitch in now.
Well, wait. If you're having requests, can I be the CPA?
I hope all these things come true.
I'm a real good CPA, so I can help you there. But so you got other projects going on. So that's fun. That's got to be really exciting for you.
It is. It's exciting. I love working with Neel, and I love meeting incredibly talented people like Diane in the process. So it's been really fun.
Very cool. And Diane, you're such a great actress. What's going on in your future? What's going to be happening?
Well, I've got another movie coming out this year called Holiday Breakup with Mindy Sterling, and let's see, I play again a mother.
Nice.
Totally bitchy. This seems to be the year of bitchy mothers. When I was younger, I played a lot of hookers. Now I'm playing mothers, but I wear the same clothes.
Oh.
Well, that's interesting. I should have known you in your younger days. No, I'm kidding.
And what else? Years ago, I did a TV show called Angie, and they're trying to get a reunion at the Pally Center with Doris Roberts and Robert Hayes, and the BBC. That's going to come out this year. Yeah.
Cool.
So that'll be fun. And then I'm going through what Sasha's going through. It's pilot season, so we're auditioning like mad women.
Wow. Well, that's so fun, and
I'm
so glad that you guys have bonded over dating Daisy, and now who knows what's in the future. Are you kind of taking over as more of a friendship role, a mentor role, a mommy role?
Oh, in this?
No, with Sasha, in your relationship.
Oh, in real life?
Yeah.
I adore her. We had so much fun at the last film festival. It was just a ball. We were like inseparable. All we did was laugh and have a fabulous time. So yes, we're definitely going to be in each other's lives. I think great things are going to happen for Sasha. I think she's phenomenal.
That is awesome. And John Judelson, producer, Dating Daisy. Diane Robin, great actress, Dating Daisy, playing Eleanor, mother of course, Michael. Thank you so much for calling in. We hope to see you in a few weeks at the Phoenix Film Festival. It's been such a great show. Movie. We hope everyone gets out and sees it and enjoys it as much as we did.
And an award-winning show.
Yes, no doubt.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's going to be there the 8th, 9th, and 10th of April. So come see the movie. That'll be wonderful.
And I'll be calling you at midnight.
Thank you.
I adore you. Thank you so much.
Thank
so
you.
much fun. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Wow, such a you could tell. There's a great bonding here. I mean, you could tell. Sometimes you can't tell, and maybe there is, and sometimes there's not. But this seems like a true. Even when we met them in person, they all came and they all were.
And we hadn't seen the film yet.
No, not yet.
And so that to me also spoke volumes because their personalities were so wonderful. In fact, I think I mentioned it to you afterwards. I said, "Oh my gosh, I love these people. I hope the film is really, really good because I'd love to have them again." So
this is definitely an excellent film. And Eric, we could share. I could call her one day at 12, and you could call her another day at 12. Would that
I'll have to get permission from Kathleen.
Oh, wow.
Good answer.
I don't need permission.
But I get her at 12:05, so there.
Oh, that's just great. Just great. Okay. Anyway, well, why don't we take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have a wrapping up the show summary.
A wrap party, so to speak.
A wrap party. This is Breakthrough Entertainment live on 1480 AM KPHX in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll be right back.